my god. I've got some great things in mind.
Yeah, I got a few ideas.
So, welcome to the Sid and Rich Do Life podcast. I'm Sid.
And I'm the other one. Dude, I tried. That's...
I'll take that. If you can't do the math yourself, you really didn't ought to be listening to a podcast.
I'm live.
Yeah, if you're confused who the other element of this is, go get yourself checked. Okay, so we're rocking and rolling.
Yes. Before we actually begin with any of the catch-ups, I wanted to just voice to you a complaint that Sarah had from the last episode.
Oh
the
yeah.
Second episode. She wanted it to be known to you that she has actually seen the 70s show. So it's just me. It's just
That's
me that needs to
mega.
watch it.
Oh, my love for that woman grows every day.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, she said she listened to the podcast twice in a row because she was at work and she realized that the podcast was over and she hadn't really heard any words from it. It was just
zoned us
background
out
noise.
like she does in real life.
Yeah, that must be it, right? It just seems she's gotten so used to ignoring our rambling. She was like, "Oh no, I was supposed to listen to this."
Yeah, I was actively trying to take an interest in the shit that was coming out their mouths. Oh, that's Meg. No, she's far more cultured than you. Then clearly.
Oh yeah, we knew that.
Did she agree on my point
Definitely.
about the casting? Is she watching WandaVision as well, or
She's not watching WandaVision, as far as I'm aware.
okay.
I haven't spoken to her about it, to be fair. So she's probably watching WandaVision, but
It's wonderful that you've not spoken to your girlfriend about something that you've put out there into the public domain.
well, she's not on the podcast.
Yeah, so guests coming by episode 10. Yeah, third week of doing this now. That level of consistency for us is worrying. But I suppose in lockdown you've got no other choice but to
Yeah.
be I'm still loving it. It's still great.
Oh, this
fun.
is the shining jewel of my week.
Yeah,
the
virtually
podcast,
every
so-
funny thought I have, I don't even share with Rosie anymore because I'm like, this is too good for you, Rosie. I'm
Yeah.
gonna save this for Rich. This is content.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't know if you want to do any interesting, because I've got topics to talk about.
Oh, I've got topics, but I like the idea that we have this weekly catch up of where we just go over. Because, well, for one, we don't talk to each other in the week anymore, so
Yeah.
it's nice to just to do that.
Yeah, I've got a
And,
couple of things as well,
yeah.
but I don't know if you want to start with the catch up. I sort of took the wheel there to talk about
No, that's a relevant part of your last week, isn't it? That's part of the catch up.
Yeah, but there's other bits. But if you want to jump away first with what's happened in your week, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, yeah. So the MacBook arrived.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it is. And that's why I was, before we started recording, asking about the audio quality, because I was previously using the AirPods to record, and it sounded like talking through polystyrene.
Yeah.
And as you know, I've been playing Magic over stream, so over a stream, so I've been talking over that, and I used the MacBook to do that for the first time, and rather than use these as its default, it used its own microphone, and everybody on the Discord was able to just notice that the microphone quality was a million times better. I think Tony put it as this is like, it sounds like alpha Rich when you speak through the Mac, but when you speak through the AirPods, it sounds like the Rich we see in the photos. But what was it? He said, yeah, it's the Rich on your driver's license photo talking.
Oh wow.
But yeah. So I didn't know if with having that as the primary microphone now, if it was noticeable or if it is all just polystyrene. Because that would be nice.
It's a marginal improvement, but
Yeah, couldn't be worse. So
yeah. No, I mean it still has the same resonance of the rooms because you say a small microphone trying to pick up as much noise as it can, so it still has the resonance of the room that I can hear, which leads
Yeah.
it to having sort of a tinnier sound because it's a small room.
Yeah.
You know, but it's definitely a marginal improvement on the lo-fi microphone that's in the fucking AirPods. So yeah, I mean, I'd happily stick with this.
I'll take that.
I'd happily stick with this over the AirPods. You know,
Yeah,
we'll
well-
see how it comes out, I guess.
Yeah, and if it's not up to a quality that I'm happy with, I'll still get a mic at episode 5. So there's that. But I just thought I'd that's the first thing that I noticed with the MacBook.
Yeah,
But yeah, I love it. As I say, I'm recording on it now. I've been using it. It arrived I want to say Monday, and it arrived Monday, and I've been using it every day since then. And in fact, resisting the urge to ring you every day with new fascinating things I've found and been doing on it, and it's been the most difficult thing, like saving it all for this evening. But it's so quick and smooth, and I don't want to go back to Windows, to be quite honest.
yeah. I knew we'd get you eventually.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. I mean, just setting up macOS personally was a lot more enjoyable than when I have to do it at work or if I ever have to do it for other people. But yeah, it's nice, and I was able. Lightroom. I absolutely smashed through the photos I wanted to edit with Lightroom, and Lightroom's not optimized yet as well, so that was nice.
I'm not surprised that runs nicely on there though.
Yeah, and I've been using Prem the last couple of days. I think I started using Prem yesterday.
Yeah.
And that I'm using the beta version that is native, and I'll say it is 95% of the time amazing. Like I actually loaded up a bunch of old projects with all the effects and everything, and the color grading all done from what I'd done on my previous laptop, that I know exactly how much it was chugging by the end of those, and it just loaded them all straight in, and I was scrubbing through it at full resolution with no issue whatsoever. And I've started a new project, and it's been perfect 95% of the time. There's been that 5% where it's like I put in a directional blur effect to do a quick snap transition, and the moment that was on it, until I restarted the Mac, Prem was just like, we're not having it. And I was a bit worried it might have been the Mac. Maybe it's just something, because this was the first effect I'd put into it. But after a restart, and that was last night and all of today where I was using it, it's just been fine. So
Good.
that just looked like a Prem issue, which I'm sure you're very happy to hear. But
no, look, man, I used Prem for a lot of years, and you know, I'm not necessarily such an advocate for Final Cut that I'm saying that Prem is awful.
yeah,
I just find, especially if you've got a lot of projects done, I personally find Final Cut is a lot more streamlined and optimized for getting the project done and getting it out, and the render times on Mac for Final Cut are just so much smaller than they are for Prem. So
yeah,
it boots video out so quick, and if you've got a lot to get through, that can be a massive advantage. So I do recommend trying it, because it's free for a month anyway.
That's it. I'll finish. I'll probably finish this project in Prem, assuming that I don't have any catastrophic issues with it. And then I'll probably start the next project in Final Cut.
Yeah.
So I've got a decent comparator for the Mac. But no, it's just I can't believe how smooth it is, to be honest, just across the board.
Okay, so we've done your Mac update. Have you got any other updates?
Yeah, so I assume there'll be video in the next one as well.
Yeah.
And there's a sideways bed. I'm currently in the middle of redecorating Oliver's bedroom. So I've removed his bed. It's actually dismantled just behind me.
When do you want to achieve that for?
Pardon?
Well, when's Oliver back with you?
Saturday night.
Okay.
So it's his birthday this weekend, so she's got him for a bit longer this week. So I thought I'm going to use that, make the most of that time. And last night I stripped down all of his wallpaper and emptied his bedroom, and then we've got some like Paw Patrol wallpaper to put up for him.
Oh my god.
And stuff. He's gonna love it. But yeah, at the moment I've just got this dismantled bed behind me. So at least that explains that away. But yeah, it should be fun. Gonna probably do that tomorrow night and just Saturday. Just get it papered up. Everything's all ready to go up. But yeah.
That sounds wonderful. I'm useless with wallpaper. I'm terrible.
I'm not that great either, to be fair. I'm gonna be heavily relying on my dad.
Take pictures. We'll put it in the edit.
Oh god.
Just Rich going through.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
And it's,
what about yourself? Any news from this last week?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of things. So it's like it's a lot of things I could be talking about, but this one that I want to talk about is like so interesting to me that I'm like it's just overridden any other things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to be like, oh, did this is slightly interesting. There's a little bit on this, and then let's talk about this one big thing that's really interested me. But my brain is just kind of like, no, you're just going to talk about a big thing.
This is so interesting, we've decided to forget about it.
yeah, this is so... The thing we want to talk about is such a priority to talk about, so that we're going to wipe our own brain. So just essentially Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind with myself. I don't know if you ever watched that movie.
No, but I like the idea that every week you're going to give me a reference that I don't understand.
I can't believe you've not watched Eternal...
So uncultured.
Look, I can't believe you've not watched Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. In fact, yeah, I bet Sarah's watched it. I bet Money Sarah's watched it.
It's a film that's critically acclaimed that isn't Lord of the Rings. Sarah hasn't watched it.
Okay, well, we'll see. But...
I know I was wrong last week, but I'm sure of it this time.
But please, Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, please put it on a list.
Okay.
Just
write it down.
It's just interesting. It's just one of them ones where you're like, I can't believe you've not watched it. But
underneath, watch Mandalorian.
Yeah, I guarantee. I tell you what, the worst case scenario, make a list, and when we get to spend time together again, we'll have a movie night once a week, and we'll just sit and watch movies once a week.
I like that idea more.
Do it then. Let's just make a list. Every time I mention a movie that you haven't watched in this podcast, write a little list out, and when we can see each other again, Friday nights will be movie night, and we'll just do it every week.
That sounds bliss.
Yeah,
All
buddy.
Right.
All right.
That's on the list.
It's on the Sid and Rich do date night list. Okay, so this thing I want to talk about. So I suppose some backstory is probably a little bit important. You obviously know Emily.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. My daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, Emily. Just on the off chance that anyone's listening to this at all at this point, after all the crap we've gone through, if we've still got a listener by week 3, I'm just one. You hang in there, buddy. So my 9-year-old daughter, as you all know, is, I wouldn't say, because she's quite an intelligent little girl, but she's very easily distracted. She likes to talk about what interests her. She's never shown an interest in anything conventional. She's very much into like creepy stuff, like Five Nights at Freddy's. But she's just a bit of a kooky kid, and I love her because of that. She reminds me a lot of me when I was a child. She seems wiser than her years, but that kid cannot focus on anything. Like if I was like, Emily, watch this immovable object for 10 seconds just so it doesn't go anywhere, I guarantee you she'd be like turned around looking out the window like 4 seconds later. So I have very low expectations of her attention span, let's put it that way. So with that preface, I've been playing guitar a lot recently.
Yeah.
I got back into it in a big way. And whenever I get an hour or so of just me time, I'll plug into an amp and I'll sit and play guitar, learn something I haven't learned before, or just generally relax. I find it very, very therapeutic, and it reminds me, of fun times from being a kid. But more often than not nowadays, I'm like, I could never play that when I was a kid. I'm going to try and play it now as an adult, and I find that my attention to detail is a lot better. My ability to break things down is a lot better than it was as a kid. And because of those two factors, and I guess things like coding and stuff like that have made my brain a little bit more pattern oriented than it already was, because I'm already very pattern oriented anyway. Whatever experience I've gained that's non-musical is having some impact on my ability to play guitar. So, anyway, this is not a story about me, although I do love stories about me. I'm sort of jamming away, playing around with guitar, and Emily walked from the living room through the dining room to go upstairs, and she goes, "Sounding great, Dad," and I was like, thanks.
Cool.
So glad I got your approval.
Oh, bless her.
Which again, I suppose I love my approval from Emily, but like I could do anything and it's comedy gold. Like I'm at the point where I'm like, Emily, I think you love me so much that you just, the bar set real low for me. But I said to her, and it never even occurred to me in any such way, but she sort of stood there, thumbs up, just looking at me with her beautiful little eyes, and I'm like, do you want to have a go? And she was like, can I? I was like, well, you didn't think it was an option? Like, anyone wants to talk to me about guitars, and I'm in, I don't care. Of course it's an option, And I took my guitar off. At the time, I was playing my Jaguar, which is a shorter scale guitar. So it's an adult guitar. It's not a kid's guitar, but it is a shorter scale neck than my other guitars. And it's really good for our hands. So I put it on, starts talking to her about some bits. I says, "What do you want to learn? Do you want to learn a song, or do you want to learn some fundamentals?" Or do you want to do a bit of both? Like, what do you want to do? You've got the guitar, you tell me what you want to do with it. And she's like, "Oh, I'd like to play a song." I was like, "Okay, that's cool." So I immediately, the first thing that came to head was just "Damn It" by Blink-182, because it's a very simple little riff that I think most people can achieve, and it's always good to it's a good feeling to be able to play a song, So I was like, right, okay, I'll talk you through. So I talked to her about the guitar, talked to her about the frets and what they are, and showed her how to fret a fret. So she sort of got that idea, told her how to hold a plectrum, and the whole time I'm talking to her about these things, I'm talking to her I'm not dumbing it down. I'm like, this is, this is a pickup. This is, talking to her through it all, and I'm thinking 10, 20 seconds into this, I should have give up, right? We were talking for like 2 hours, and she's like actually fretting, and by the end of it, she's working on it, and it's starting to sound reasonably good. And I was like, I think you're a bit of a natural, Emily. That's really impressive. And I'm like, high five, that sounds mega. And anytime I'm saying like, try this, and she's like struggling, I'm like, just remember to move your finger a little bit closer here, and it's going to sound a lot better, and put a bit more pressure on, and this sort of. And she's like, oh yeah, the fret, I need to be putting it closer to here and doing that. I'm like, yeah, you're getting it, man. Like, and she's like, this is great. I'm like, this is so good. Like, this is so cool.
That's amazing.
I know, dude, honestly, I was like proudest dad ever. So I went out immediately and bought her a £600 guitar the next day.
Jesus Christ. No pressure, Emily.
No, so, okay, so but the overwhelming, for me, just even that interaction alone, I could have died happy. Like, that was so wonderful that my daughter's like, listen to me. She's taking in what I've said. She's taking an interest in what I've said.
What?
But she said a couple of things to me when we were wrapping up. She said, I was like, oh, Emily, it's getting late. Let's pack it away for today. Thank you for sitting with me. This has been wonderful. How have you felt about it? She said, this is amazing. I love it. I'm so glad I've got an interest. Like, I was like, are you reading my mind? Like, what's going off here? And just super proud moments. Like, my daughter very rarely shows an interest in something, but she was just invested. So wakes up the next morning and she's like, "Right after breakfast, can I play guitar again?" I was like, "Oh, you could have woke me up at 2 a.m. and planned to play guitar. I'd have been fine with it." Of course you can. So after that decision, like after she showed an interest in the second day, I grew up with like not a musical dad, but like a really, he loves music. He couldn't play guitar, but he was always supportive. So like, I showed an interest in guitar, and that weekend he took me to buy a guitar. So like, Like, I always attribute that level of, like, my dad was like, if you've got an interest, follow it. Like, if you've got an interest, dive into it. Go as deep as you can. Get in there, do what you want to do. And, you know, never any pressure, but he always encouraged me to follow my inquisitive side, you know? So, as a result, what I did do is that day I went and bought a guitar and an amp. It was a second-hand Fender Mustang. It's a short-scale guitar, like the Jaguar, so it's nice for smaller hands, and a nice little practice amp. And I was like, I bought these things for me, Emily. This is my guitar. This is my amp. However, I'm gonna let you borrow them. And the moment you don't show any interest, it's fine. I'll have them back. You know? But again, I would be the proudest dad if I never got them back at all, you know? So
wholesome. Like,
yeah,
I think the most important part of all of that, right, is that she, with no external interaction, like, took it upon herself to decide, I'm gonna learn guitar, right? Like, that's a natural passion coming through.
And she's played it every day since for at least an hour.
And she's the perfect age to start, right? Like, she's gonna be a pro before she's in, like, secondary school.
Oh yeah, she'll be like absolutely styling on kids twice her age.
That's amazing. That is genuinely awesome, and I really like how you've handled the you've obviously bought this guitar so she can learn on it, but not telling her it's hers, like, so there's no pressure on her, so she doesn't feel like she's obligated. Like, that is so wholesome. Like,
oh man, it even extended past that. She was like, "Can I give it a name?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's what I do." Like, don't tell your mum.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I've been doing for years. I was like, sure. And she's like, she's called it Bessie. And she's like, "Oh, I'm looking after my Bessie," and I don't know, maybe it's an old lady to her, no idea. And you know, she's like, "Oh, this is a Fender like yours, Dad." And I was like, "Yeah, this is a Fender. Yeah. It's still mine, Emily. Don't forget that." But you know, she's still she's like every vocalization she has about the guitar, she's trying to own it, and it's like that's really like that's cute as hell. I mean, like I say, if I never receive it back, I'll be delighted.
Yeah.
Although the amp, I really wanted the amp. It's such a cool little practice amp. It's amazing. I was like, I'm so jealous, you know. But yeah, just man, just such good feels, and the fact that she's playing it. She's at her mum's right now, and like every day she'll text me like, "I've done an hour today, Dad." And I rang her. I was like, "What you been working on?" She's like, "Well." I sent her a link to there's a website online where it shows you guitar basics. I'm like, look, you know, in lieu of me not being around, there's this dude online, and Shane, who's a stepdad, he plays guitar as well. So she's got these people around her that can show her bits, and she's like, I've been learning power chords today, Dad. I was like, amazing. Like, when can we get you a record deal? Oh man, honestly, it's just, and I've been wanting to tell you. Like,
oh, no doubt. Yeah, I bet it's like just been built up inside you. Like, oh no, that's so nice. Like, it's genuinely amazing.
You can see why.
I really hope she keeps it up, and I look forward to seeing how she progresses.
Oh
she
man,
can teach me when she's older.
Yeah, and you can see why my brain just wiped everything else. It's like, since we've sat down, I've been dying to talk to you about this. Gosh, man, man. It's just been wonderful. it's just so nice. So,
yeah, perfect dad moment. See, anything I say now about my week is gonna fall short. Like, how do I follow that? Like,
that's why I let you
magical,
go first.
like, amazing, heartwarming moment with your daughter as she develops a passion for something that you are yourself passionate about above all else, and I'm like, so I got some new work shoes.
I had a pretty nice spag bol the other night.
Like, so my stocks aren't doing well. Like, how do I follow that?
Are they not?
Oh well, I was heavily invested in Rolls Royce, and then like Joe Biden cracked down on travel, so Rolls Royce took a bit of a hit. But
no engines being made.
No. So to be fair on that note, like, so last week there were two separate conversations we had that became very relevant this week. So this goes out obviously a week after we've recorded it, but so we spoke about. I spoke about joking about how I never invested in Bitcoin, and I wish I had.
Yeah.
In the same week, I spoke about how I am invested in the stocks.
Yeah.
And the day that went up is the day that GameStop stocks went from like $60 to $360.
Yeah.
You've been following the story
I
of the
just
Wall
saw
Street
a
bets.
video on YouTube that said GameStop's just made all its shareholders millionaires.
Yes, because of a bunch of people on Reddit essentially combining forces to battle against the people the hedge funds that were shorting it.
Yeah.
And winning. So literally on the same day that I'm talking about how my biggest regret if I had one would be that I never invested in this golden opportunity right in front of me, goes out on the same day that I also don't invest in a golden opportunity right in front of me.
I genuinely thought he was like, buddy, just so you know, like, I'm a millionaire right now. I've chucked all my money
do you
into
know how
GameStop.
good that would be? Like, I'm really
He's
just
like,
like
do you
low
remember-
key.
yeah.
I've started on the stocks. This week I'm a billionaire. Like, I'm in a golden
Do you remember
suit.
how we had that whole conversation about how I have no regrets and, like, okay, I could have changed this one thing, but fundamentally speaking, I'm happy with how my life is. The universe rewarded me because the one
You're
thing I
never going to
invested
guess who
in.
teleported into my room for 30 seconds just after I finished recording.
Yeah, it was an old dude who's like, GameStop, get in it now. and I chose not to listen to him because, that technology...
You look like me. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, you're like, who the fuck are you? And no time to explain. GameStop. And you were like, no. GameStop? What the hell? And it's like, I'm happy with my life as it is now. Do you not listen to the podcast? And you're like, and he does his fading words as he goes, he's like, I'm such a fucking idiot.
It's like $60. It'll never take off. Who does he think he is?
Wow.
Yeah. So I absolutely love the perfect timing of that.
Oh, buddy, you know what? I genuinely enjoyed my story. I'm glad I shared it with you, but that story is... I'm actually crying at that idea. It's actually made me laugh so hard.
I couldn't believe it. It was 60, and it was 180, and then it was 360 all in like a couple of days, and I was like, why am I so dense? Like, how do I do this to myself? Because I follow Wall Street Bets, the subreddit. Like, I love it because it's just I find it hilarious. So it wasn't like I was unaware of this happening. Just
You were in the right place at the right time, and you just chose to go, let's see what happens here then.
yeah, I should have bought Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin, man. Oh, so annoying.
You're like me with social cues. I let them sail past, and you're just like, financial opportunity. Bye, buddy.
Yeah.
Does Sarah know as well? Like, does Sarah know that you've...
No, I haven't told her yet.
Oh, so she's hearing this probably right now because you still haven't told her a week later.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah.
That you both could have been extremely well off. Like, don't worry, I know we're separate, but we're buying a house. Like,
You know, that house I'm saving for that I could have been able to afford 3 times over had I not been
wow.
as ignorant now as I was 8 years ago.
Jesus, buddy.
Yeah. So that was fun.
I fucking love you, buddy.
I
You
don't.
never fail to cheer me up. Like, that's... I'm feeling a little bit under the weather this week, and it's been a rough... I've barely slept, if I'm honest, since we last spoke, because Rosie's been so uncomfortable every night. It's just been a tough week, and knowing that you absolutely missed the boat on that one, and then had the dignity to admit it.
I wish I missed the boat. No, I sat on the harbour and watched it leave. I was like, tally ho.
Well, I suppose actually, because you knew about the information, you were fully on that boat.
Yeah, no, I
You just didn't pay for a
followed the Wall
room.
Street Bets thing. Yeah, because it was at like $17 or something. Like, it was at $5 like a year ago, and then it was at $17, and like, because of the 300% jump, the subreddit was going mad, and that's where I sort of started to pay attention to it. And then it went to $60, and that was when we recorded it when it was at about $60 or something.
So
like
you
that.
really should have jumped
show.
in at that point. Even
And it just continued to go all the while.
was
I
you
like,
thinking, okay, well it's gone up to $60. I've definitely missed an opportunity here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I thought it was a very short squeeze and it wasn't going to last. And it's
Get
like
in,
this,
get out
this.
type job.
Yeah, like the the subreddit's like tagline is "It's 4chan if we had a Bloomberg."
I'm gonna put it
Wall
on my
Street
phone.
bets. The big thing right now is all the major trading groups have actually stopped people from buying stocks. You actually can't buy it right now.
No,
which-
that's not the point. It just sounds like a good subreddit, and
it is. It's all memes. It's so good.
I only use,
But I mean,
as you know, I
right now
only
they're
use my
going absolutely
phone.
livid because
We had that conversation. I use my phone for about an hour and a half a day, but that hour and a half is 100% Reddit when I'm on the toilet.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's it. Like, I was arguably more aware of this than I ever was of Bitcoin at the time. Like, admittedly, I was looking into Bitcoin, but like, if I had a redo, I'd probably still fuck it up. There is no excuse for this. It was 2 button presses away.
Wall Street Brett, like 4chan, found a Bloomberg terminal illness.
Yeah.
All right, I'm subscribed. You know,
Brilliant.
we're in for a good one now. Okay, right. Oh, that's mega. That's so funny. Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
And there's nothing I like more than laughing at your misfortune.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that's where the balance comes, right? Like,
Oh, I mean, if you were a millionaire, I'd still find reasons to laugh at you.
yeah. For every misfortune of Richards, there's an equal and opposite enjoyment of somebody witnessing it.
Well, I want to, before we get onto topics, right? I've not watched Firefly, as we kept that out last
Yeah, I
week's
know.
thing. So
I haven't watched The Mandalorian.
that's fine. I will be watching Firefly when I get round to. At the moment, I can't find it to stream anywhere for free. I don't sell the 7 Seas, so at some point I'm gonna have to find it cheap to buy somewhere. But
Okay.
please tell me you watch WandaVision.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah, I did watch WandaVision. Yeah.
So
I
based on my initial analysis of the first 2 episodes, last week was one of the most exciting fucking 40 minutes of television I think I've watched in a long time.
Are we gonna tiptoe around spoilers again then?
Oh hell no! Look, spoilers coming.
Oh, we're going
Right.
straight in.
Like if you ain't watched WandaVision and you don't want spoilers, skip forward 10 minutes and we'll go from there. But
We'll put on the screen like the time code to go to or something.
yeah, spoiler
Yeah.
free from here will come up on the screen. And if you're listening to us on Apple, thanks, because I'm not entirely sure if people are still doing that. But if you are, just skip forward and see if you can. If not, go watch WandaVision, come back, and you'll probably enjoy. It's only about 3 hours worth of. You've got time. We're in lockdown. You've got plenty of time. So, right. So from here on out, for the next 10 minutes or so, absolute spoilers
Yeah.
for WandaVision. So initially, I said, right, I didn't know what sort of show I was watching. It seemed very cheesy. The first thing off the bat this week that really, it clicked, and I was like, wow. They're going decade by decade.
Yes.
And I was like, I didn't, because the 50s and 60s are relatively similar in appearance. It didn't necessarily click so much. So, I noticed she was wearing trousers in the second episode, not necessarily a thing they did in the 50s. However...
Oh, really? There was a difference between the first and the second episode?
Exactly, right? She was wearing trousers.
I didn't know that.
Exactly. So it was in black and white, but she was wearing trousers in the second episode, which was that's not necessarily a 50s thing. But it didn't hit home for me because it's still 50s and 60s, still kind of similar. When you hit the 70s, boom, first of all, colour came into it. So I was like, oh,
Yes.
wow. In these 40 minutes, we're experiencing an entire decade. And that's why things are moving quite so quick. So that was the first thing. I was like, that is such a cool concept. And on top of that, the tropes that are coming from each decade are working them into the sitcom. So it's like,
Yes.
wow.
So I noted that. I noticed that the fake jokes were definitely landing more in this last episode. Yeah. It really did because it's starting to shed its skin a little bit more and really really get wacky in where it's going. The jokes really were landing a lot more for me, I think.
Well, not
this
only
week.
that, but just that idea, that concept of we're going decade by decade, but no one's acknowledging it. And I was just like, and then we're going to shift the tonality of each episode to match the decade of television that it's representing. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, the concept that I didn't like in the first episode, this is genius level work. Like, wow, like
Yeah.
what an amazing travel through television that we're experiencing via this narrative that this week. I don't know if you did, but I certainly got a lot more invested in the narrative this week as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. As I say, it's the crazy train's definitely speeding up.
Yeah,
A lot of funky juju was going on this week for sure.
So, I mean, obviously spoilers, but the baby comes, and you're given that moment where the character who seems to, you said it actually a couple of like Truman Show.
Yeah,
The parallel is there because like this character that's obviously employed.
I've written down Truman. So I just had a bunch of bullet points. I was like, some of the fake jokes landed more. Funky weird juju going on. Truman Show intensifies.
Yeah. And it's a Truman Show for Vision. So she's what I seem to think's happened is she's encapsulated Vision in this holographic environment, the data that is Vision, and allowed him to have a life that they could not have together otherwise. And I feel like she controls that. And the only reason I feel that she controls it is because every time something happens that doesn't fit her narrative, she just says
she sort of
no.
Resets it, yeah.
And resets it.
So,
and it's... Sorry, go on.
No, I have a very similar theory, but it wasn't like... Because I never saw it from like this perspective that she's put his AI into like a thing. I actually thought it was more... Because one, like... The Scarlet Witch has this ability to literally manipulate reality. And we get the glimpse of like this dome, where I was like, this is absolutely the Truman Show, which is launched out the dome. I was like, the way I see it is this is her dealing with the grief of losing to the character the only thing she had left in her life. She's already lost her brother, who is actually mentioned in this episode, and like for the first time since his passing as well, they haven't mentioned him at all in any of the following the films. And I think this is like almost her psyche like trying to deal with it, and her powers manifesting in this powerful way where like this sword government are trying to like interfere and stop her, is the way I see it. And like so my theory is that like everything's like this figment around her, except for these characters that she's manipulating in it who are real people. Like, I don't think she's acutely aware of it, but she is... You know what I mean? It feels like a big coping mechanism inside her head, but it's because of the nature of her powers, it's real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely see it being... Because Vision can't be real, right? Like, he can't be alive.
Vision is, in my mind, Vision is the unwitting subject. Like, he is...
But he's got the gem in his head. Like...
Yeah. I think I genuinely, so I can see your point of view. Like because my initial thought was like it's a prison for her. Someone's put her in a prison.
No.
You know, and it's how can we context? So Scarlet Witch is she's a really powerful character for starters. But like how could you put her in a prison? Well, you could make a world where she's content and put her in, but she seems to know too much about it. So that made me think, well, like, did she agree to go into the prison? So did she go, look, you know, all right, I've got nothing. Just put me in. I'll go in here if you can create this, and I'll go and I'll be peaceful. Or is it a case of she's done it to herself and she's gone, I've lost everything. You know, the only thing I had in my life after everything was I had Vision, and I had to kill him. So
yeah.
So
see, that's where that's what I subscribe to there. I think this is more of an institute that she's either that's been built around her, or that she because they've had to, or that she is sort of, as you say, like willingly gone into to live out this fantasy. I'm so excited
to see how it comes about. You know, like
but I'm glad you've really taken to it.
Well, do you know what I said? Like, you know, like they've got all the resources they could be doing, you know, but I just don't know what I'm watching. Like now I know.
No.
now I know I'm watching something and it's coming. Like again, it's the payoff. The payoff has got to be there. They've got to do the payoff, but.
I'm optimistic, but the production value alone, like this is the thing, right? It's a series with top tier movie level production, and the time there's a moment. Pardon? And actors, budget, production, actors, the lot, and if in case you ever forgot, the reason you know this every episode is because there's 7 minutes of credit.
Yeah.
The credits for every episode are a third of the total runtime because of how many people are involved in it. It's absolutely mad.
Oh no, I'm super excited, and it just was wow. Okay, so that's before we start jumping into topics. I really just wanted to be like, at this point, if you're listening now, back in the room, no spoilers from here on out for WandaVision. We're just going to break down some other topics we've been talking about, but I'm excited for tomorrow's episode.
Yeah, likewise.
I'm also excited to hear one of your topics because you've got a list there, and I brought the thunder last week, so
okay,
let's hear it, bro.
So, one of the things we're doing with this podcast is we're essentially creating ourselves a little time capsule, right? Now we don't know how long we're going to be doing it for, but at least for as long as we do it. It's this little moment in time where we talk about the things that are going on right now that we can look back on in the future.
Yeah.
So I thought, with how much we're going to look back on these, we could right now make some little predictions for where we might be in like a year from now, or a couple years from now, or sort of at different times where we are essentially directly acknowledging our future selves, and so when we do look back, we've got something that we can see where we've gone and where that might have divulged.
Like a reverse of going back 60 seconds, like a little 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like that.
So so how many other stock opportunities is Future Richard gonna miss?
First of all, first on that, just before we get into that, I like the idea, and I was going to ask you this question. I'm thinking Rosie's going to give birth this Saturday.
Okay.
Do you want to put down now? So this will be out. Effectively, this will come out, and we'll do our recording next week. And I'm like, I was right, or like, I was wrong. Do you want to put a prediction down? So she's due on the 11th of Feb, but we've been having a lot of things happening, but that could mean nothing. So do you want to put a prediction in place?
I'm gonna say the 8th.
The 8th.
Yeah. So
and if you're right, what you want it to be called? Saoirse Ray Rich Shevlin.
Now I do.
I'll try to see if we can get that one passed.
Just let her know what's at stake, Yeah. I guess the date 10 days before it came up.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everyone can do that.
Not everyone can pull a date out of thin air.
The way I see it, the 8th is the day that Sarah and I got together. So dates have a funny little thing where they line up with each other, I think.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to say it's going to be the 8th.
Okay, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I like that. Yeah, well, we'll see.
Real short-term implementation of your idea.
Yeah, I think I spoke last week about how I do these every couple of months, where I will just literally talk to my future self. So I'm constantly making predictions in the short term and long term about myself that very rarely come true. But yeah, I just thought it'd be an interesting thought experiment if we sat down and went, right, 28th of January 2022, where do we think we'll be? And it was like I didn't think much too deeply of that, because I wanted it to be a bit more spontaneous from my end as well. Like I haven't thought about it until right now, where I'm actually thinking, well, for myself, hopefully I'm in a house or I'm house hunting. That is the top thing. I'd like to think that by then I've got the money behind myself.
Really close to me.
Pardon? Yeah, hopefully your neighbours are selling up, and yeah.
Oh, buddy, I can arrange it if that's what you want.
But that's it. If we start now, we've got a good
I know
chance.
I don't like talking to people, but I can be really annoying. So if you want, I'll just be their best friends for at least 6 weeks and then get rid of them close to when you start looking.
Sounds perfect. Get right on it. But yeah, that's the top of my list. It's like Oliver's going to be 3.5. He'll have just turned 3.5, so he'll be even further developed. He probably knows more numbers than 1, 2, 8, 9, 10. He could probably
already knows
maybe
more than
read
me.
a little bit, and I don't know what 3.5-year-olds are capable of, but it's probably more than 2.5-year-olds. Like, but no, the biggest thing is that I would not be here. I'd be in a different house that I own with Sarah and with Oliver, and I didn't really think too much deeply from that. But like, do you think we'll still be doing videos? Do you think we'll still be doing the podcast? Do you think, like, I don't know, it was just interesting thought experiment, I think.
As a minimum, I want us to be still doing the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to have 52. I'd like to have, you know what, it would be really interesting. But like, oh, do you remember week 3 we made these predictions? Like episode 52, we bring that up. You know, one year from when we
so
start,
cool. Yeah.
and then we like listen to predictions. I mean, I'll bank on I'll bank on one real one that, like, you know, I want to have lost a significant amount of weight by this time next year. I want my health to be in a better state, and I want to have more energy. So that's not like in the sense where it's like, oh, I wish I could do this. I'm working on that now anyway. And
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, if in a year's time I'm in worse shape, I probably, you know, I fuck knows how I want to be able to do a lot of the things I'm already struggling to do. So for me, a year from now, I better be looking back and being like, patting myself on the back and going, well done, buddy. You know, you lost this amount. I'm not going to put a number on it. The overall aim is I just want to be in...
It's loose terms, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if it's £20 lighter, £30 lighter, whatever. It's just as long as my health is in a better place than it is right now, because I've just got to have some improvement. So that'll be the first one. The second one, I want to be sort of thinking about the what we do with this house that we're in now, because we bought it this year, but you know, I want to do some renovations to add an extra bedroom. So I want to be on the path to, if I haven't even at this point a year from now started doing that, I want to be, right, this is the year where we put that into place, and we get a builder, we get things in and get stuff started, especially as the kids get older. Otherwise we'll have to look for another house next door to you or something like that. So
Works for me.
go for a 4-bed, because that's what I need. So yeah, that's the main one would be, like, I absolutely need to be in better shape from now. I do have a goal for this year as well, which is, and it's a little one, but it's to sort of get a handful of freelance jobs on.
Yeah.
And this is not that I don't love my current job. I do. I absolutely love my current job. I like to have. I don't like to get creatively stale, I suppose is the word. And there are ways in when you've. There are projects that I'm doing all the time that are interesting and new, and that's great. But it's not every day I get an opportunity. One I worked on this week I worked on someone else who's sort of going freelance for themselves in a completely different industry, and I got an opportunity to work on their logo, and we're going to be following that into a website for them as well. So that's already sort of starting to take place. That I'm picking up other jobs, and it's just interesting to be able to do to be able to help other people achieve what they want for themselves.
Yeah.
And it, you know, I'm a big admirer of a guy called Aaron Draplin, who's a designer, graphic designer, and he always says, you know, like, help your friends for starters, which I already do. I've got a friend who's got a bakery, a wonderful vegan bakery, and you know Emma, so you know she's just the most adorable person in the world in every way, and just such a big heart, and she asked me to help her out, and she pays me in cakes, which is probably it's adversely affecting the weight.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's true. I'd argue it's a better currency, but that's a fair point too.
She makes delicious cakes, though.
It's like you could achieve one of these two goals, not the other one.
Yeah. If everyone pays me in cakes, I'm fucked. I'm going to be dead by this time next year.
But on the bright side, you'll be independent.
Just living off cake. I'm making pure cake, bro. In the literal sense.
Caking it in.
So yeah, no, that's another thing. I want to be able to start building up a steady pool of. That's what I would like at least a year from now to be in that. And I would like to still be doing these podcasts. That we can use this in the podcast a year from now would be just wonderful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd like to think in a year from now we're not. I mean, we won't be free of COVID in the world, but I'd like to think that the restrictions will be at a loose enough point that we're able to start filming our videos again.
Yeah.
And that these podcasts will still be going as like a supplementary addition to them. So.
Yeah. What we've started with this, I do hope we just carry on because I just love the idea of catch up and the videos have got their own. They could be season by season. We could do 10 or 12 of them and then take a break for 4 weeks, but do the podcast regardless.
4 years.
yeah. But no, I'm having too much fun to not be doing this in a year's time. I think.
Definitely.
I also hope we have matching tattoos. I'll just drop that now. Sid and Rich Do Life logo on our shoulder or something.
Oh, crikey.
Just the cringiest shit you can imagine.
We'll celebrate 1 million subs with matching tattoos.
Oh, I was going to go for 100. You've got way higher expectations.
Yeah. Or just don't want matching tattoos. You take your pick.
Oh, buddy.
We've said it now, though. It's in stone. But,
yeah, a year from now when we haven't got matching tattoos and it's like that real awkward moment like, so Rich, when we getting these tattoos?
Million sub just rolled in. But no, I don't think my career will have changed too much. In fact, I'd prefer it if it doesn't. I like where I am in terms of my my work-life balance. But one thing I would really like to have in a year from now is a sort of a more developed schedule for my hobby of like going out creating sort of these cinematic landscape videos and sort of the photography that I started last year. It's been so sporadic because you don't know what the government's going to let you do one week to the next, and it's very difficult to plan around that. But I would like to think that by this time next year, I've got these sort of designated days where it's like Wednesdays are my podcast with Sid, Saturdays are go out as a group, we shoot our videos, Sundays I'll go out and shoot my own personal projects, Monday edit, Tuesday edit this, working through the week. Like, I'd like to think that it would be more organised and that I would be in this sort of, because I don't expect to monetize it by any means, but I would like to be in a spot where I'm at least able to organise it and have it have it consistently done.
Yeah.
But and hopefully be better at it as well. I think I've come a long way since May, June when I started it. I think I've already come a long way from there. So I'd like to think in another 12 months of hopefully more consistent practice that it's a lot. Like there's a noticeable difference between now and then. But
yeah, I mean, you really like that landscape. To me, the landscape stuff has never been anything I've really. I like subjects and narratives way too much to pay attention to landscapes. But you really do seem to get captivated by that stuff, and it's wonderful. So I would like for myself to see you develop in that area, because
thank you.
It's from a guy that I literally showed no interest in cameras or anything, before we started doing what we did, to develop a unique and to have your own take on the hobby and then want to develop that is wonderful.
Thank you. And yeah, I was actually gonna say I actually really like that. I mean, it's definitely thanks to you that I'm even able to do what I've been doing, and I have this this passion for it. But I do really like that we have unique takes on it. It is nice that there's a contrast between it, and yeah, thank you. It should be exciting so long as I can get out. But
nah, it's great, man. No, it's gonna be. It's nice as well because it's not in a sense that you've like seen what I do and gone, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that as well. Like what you've done is you've seen what I do and you've gone, that's really cool and I really like that, and then you've gone, well, actually, you know, for me, the thing I'm interested in, you know, I love that idea, but the thing I'm interested in capturing is yes, you know, the world around me, and sort of encapsulating that, and that's just, it's beautiful. And for me, like to me, the world of our interactions, or I love pushing narratives, and if I was going to be aspirational, the one thing I'd love to do one day would be to shoot a short film. Like I've always wanted to write a script, and I suppose if we're going to play this back a year from now, and I'm like, have you wrote a script, buddy? Like, you know, probably not. But you know, it's that sort of thing. It's like your passion for what you're doing with it feeds me as well, because it's like, oh man, I really need to not be lazy with this, because it is something that I do enjoy, and I like looking back on our videos, and obviously none of that was scripted, but the what I was keen on was really capturing the feeling of the narrative for the day and editing in the narrative, and I love stories, you know. So the fact that I don't do anything with myself with that is probably quite a yeah, your passion really makes me just think, oh, you know what, man, I need to pick my game up.
Thank you, man. And yeah, definitely the biggest takeaway from like watching you edit and everything like that is that I absolutely love the creative process, like, because that's it. Obviously, I'm doing something completely different with it, but the creative sort of process, the core of it is the same. You are making something from scratch. You are putting hours of time and effort into it, and you can look back on it from years. And I absolutely love that. On the other side of the coin for you, I don't like working with people very much, so I like having my own space, and I don't like crafting stories, so the world around me, which is quiet and unintrusive, works well. But that being said, I absolutely love being a part of the stories that you create and craft. So being able to do that, and if I can, you know, if our video series evolves as it has been before, there's no reason why all of this can't be encapsulated together, and there's no reason why you can't develop your storytelling over the next year or couple of years. But I am really excited to see where it all goes.
Oh, I can't wait for the Sid and Rich do film.
Feature-length movie.
All the establishing shots shot by you. We just become like the Coen brothers, but like on a really fucking long budget and long timeline, low budget Coen brothers.
Oh.
Like, you know, they do like nonsensical narratives where it's like, why is this establishing shot in here? It's like, it's fucking beautiful, right? Like, yeah, but it makes no sense to the story. I'm like, yeah, well, what do you want me to do? Like, it's beautiful. Like, shut up.
I've Sid Lebowski.
Thank you. Oh, that sounded awful. Sorry, I just had to get the dog out because he's sat here like whimpering at the door because his mummy's back, and he is just a 10.5 stone giant fucking baby, that dog. So, as you well know. So, yeah, he was really tolerant of being in here with me up until he heard his mum come back and was like, Dad, you suck, I'm out.
That's understandable.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's I like that idea, and I do look forward to listening on in a year's time and being like, what have we done from that little time? It's a time capsule within a time capsule. It's a time capsuleception, bro.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's quite meta, I think, but it's just addressing it directly and being like, it rather than future us looking back and talking to now us, it's us sort of talking to them a little bit and just
I love it.
plotting it. But yeah,
I do have one And it's not a big one. It's just one of those ones where I was like, I want to riff on this idea with you, and like do a back and forth. And the idea came up. We were talking the other night, and it was unpodcast related. It was Rosie's health related. So again, we were doing those embargoes. We can't talk about anything fun. But we had this moment where we started talking about, like, obviously we don't take this seriously. We never expect this to be a revenue stream for us in any way. It is literally me and you sitting down, finding ourselves funny and sending it out to the world. And if they find it funny, or in some cases offensive, then we'll deal with that and work from there. So what we was having this conversation, and what I thought was, like, how funny would it be if we, everyone's shilling merch on YouTube, right? Like this, you can go on and be like, you can buy the Rhett and Link mug for your coffee enjoyment. And I just had this, like, what if we just started selling really ineffectual merch that was themed around, like, having stupid names? So the idea tickled me enough to start thinking of names, like, the one I wrote down was the Sid and Rich Play President Self-Tanning Kit.
Sid and Rich do mouse mats.
So the idea was, it's like, this. So it would be like, how unrelated to YouTube and unrelated to the videos could it be? Like, you're just buying shit from China off a Wish or whatever and selling it on, and being like trying to put the cinema.
You just get a make your own sticker kit and spend $10 on Wish.
Yeah. So I wanted to riff on, like, what's some of the worst possible what's some of the worst possible merch ideas we could probably put out there. And the tanning kit was the one that I wrote down.
Sid and Rich do 5-minute instant result pregnancy kit.
Sid and Rich do each other.
Is it a Rich?
The Sid and Rich see things more clearly, glasses cleaning equipment.
It's just rebranded ice wipes.
Yeah, exactly. The Sid and Rich do hydration water bottle set.
Oh, I love that. Meanwhile, all anybody ever wanted was just a flat peak hat that said Sid and Rich do life.
The Sid and Rich private time hand lubrication set.
The Sid and Rich do knife. Nice fancy cutlery set for all occasions.
And it's just you on the box, like, fully just, like, invested in this.
The Sid and Rich do wife bridal attire party kit.
I mean, more appropriately for us, it's the Sid and Rich do divorce paperwork kit. That home running joke's going to get old at some point. So what other ones, like, the Sid and Rich do athlete's foot fungal nail remover.
Sid and Rich do acne cream for kids. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, that's it. We've stumbled on a market that shouldn't exist and will never exist. But
never you will.
If you want to, if anyone wants the Sid and Rich Play President Self Tanning Kit, comment in the YouTube, and we'll make it happen. If we get 60 orders up front, we'll do it. The Sid and Rich book on how to make friends. Just find one person that you really like, and then that's it. You're fine. It's like a 2-page book.
Step 1, wear women's shoes.
Step 2, find someone who's slightly as obscure as you, and then just run with it. The Sid and Rich disappoint their girlfriends. Podcast kit. Oh.
The Sid and Rich Be Single, Stay Single self-help guide.
Here at Sid and Rich Productions, we like to be with you at all intimate moments. This is why we are now releasing the Sid and Rich Do Your Proposal online kit. But do you want to marry Timmy? Why don't you want to marry Timmy, Timmy? It's like this guy's getting married to himself.
What, we start like a cameo?
Yeah. It's not a cameo, and it's
Oh,
like,
I like the idea of that. Except I'm still using my AirPods, so it's this big romantic, or inspirational message, spoken as if it's through polystyrene. The authentic experience.
if you really like those early episodes. Man, Sid and Rich was great till it got past episode 5 and Rich bought a mic.
Tired of all the new Sid and Rich things coming out. Wish it was like the old days. Buy the polystyrene filter today. Goes over your speakers. Everything comes out like shit.
like 40 or 50 iterations on. It's like, we know you're tired of all the merchandise we've been releasing recently. So buy today the Sid and Rich Clean Up Your Merchandise Up bag removal kit. We say the problem and the solution. So yeah, that was. Honestly, I could do it all night. Like, to me, that idea of it just being such ineffectual merchandise that nobody wants.
So a year from now, I think we'll be on the Dragon's Den. I'm gonna put that one forwards.
Only on the American version if Donald Trump's on there, right? Like, is he on the American version?
He did The Apprentice, didn't he? I don't know if he was on the American version.
Yeah, to me, there's all that sort. I don't watch TVs, so all that sort of stuff's the same. If it's not streamable, I don't watch it. So not interested. But yeah, that was one idea I had the other night, and I was just like, man.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it tickled me.
It's cracking.
Sid and Rich. Oh, that's why we didn't even think about that one. Sid and Rich, do your own coffee enema kit. That's it with Pete.
Remember, next week marks the deadline for any tier 3 Patreons to win the Sid and Rich branded toilet plunger kit.
Don't have a toilet? Don't worry, it's fine. You can use this anywhere around the house. Buy 4 of them and stick them to all limbs and try and reenact Spider-Man.
Yeah, that could go on all night.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of those topics for me and you that just could never end. Well, on that high note, I believe this has been an episode.
It's been about 2 hours or so. No,
yeah, and so I feel like it's been wonderful as always.
I've really these just get better and better for me. Like, I look forward to last week more than the first week, and don't get me wrong, I was really excited about the first week, and I've just been really excited for this week, and I already can't wait for next week.
Me too, man. It's been wonderful, but as always, I love you long time, dude.
I love you long time too, man. Take care.
See you next week. Oh my god.